Clement starts out.
How about the ladies? Thank you.
The ladies I got a special hug for afterwards. Okay.
They won't like that.
Especially I don't let go very easy. You know, it brings up a point. We have a bookstore back here. And our bookie, Mike over there, Mike tells me that we're making some money. A lot of money went in there today. We had some real good books. I find a lot of these books at Goodwill. You know, the old veteran dies and his wife doesn't want all this stuff. She takes it to the Goodwill. In fact, I was in the Goodwill looking for some books in Stillwater a few weeks ago, and I ran around the corner and ran right into Mary Bird. And she goes there, and I've been going around that corner for weeks to see if I can still bump into it. Well, our program today, we've got a guy that's been up here before, and let's see here, he was a Navy Sea pilot. He's going to narrate a DVD about how Okinawa played a major role with seaplanes during World War II. So we're going to ask our Jack Christopher to come up here. Incidentally, he has a twinkle in his eye and a shy little grin. You'll recognize him. Let's give him a hand.
See you guys next week.
Okay, I was here a few months ago talking about my Navy story at PBM. This time, instead, I have a DVD on the Seaplane operation for Open House. It's about 35 minutes long. And first of all, I got a notebook back there with PBM pictures, which I had before if anyone wanted to look at. And anybody recognize this thing? Flying Tigers had this, but we all had one too. They had theirs on their jacket sometimes, but we folded ours up and put it inside our flight jacket. We also had a little silver American flag. The story I'm going to tell now is going to be completely different than we're wheels guys, and this is going in the water. Nobody ever heard of the squadron of PBMs sitting off the shore and anchored in the open sea at Iwo Jima. We were 4 days before the Okinawa invasion over there.
A little louder.
Okay.
Mike, on your chin.
My chin. Oh, there you go. Now, why seaplanes? The island invasions, there's no land bases at all. The carriers are only there for a couple of days during the invasion, then they got their own job to do. So they have to have air cover of some kind, so seaplanes. Seaplanes were cared for by seaplane tenders. Seaplane tenders came in and dropped wood all over the area, like the sailboats at Lake Nokomis and Lake Area. There's two kinds of seaplane tenders, the small ones and the large ones. The large ones had housed a whole crew, a whole squadron of enlisted men, I'll say it. The whole squadron. And the small seaplane tenders can only have 6 crews aboard. So we had to have 3 small seaplane tenders. They were like little destroyers for the whole squadron, which made it very difficult sometimes for communications and everything. And you only knew about 1/3 of your squadron guys. Now, PBM squadrons or seaplane squadrons were independent of each other. They didn't work together like B-17 and B-24 guys. Only one time did I know that we worked with another squadron, and that was when we attacked a British ship, Jap convoy, coming out of the Yangtze River at night. That was the only other time. Otherwise, we were independent. And we all flew alone or with one other plane. Most of the time it was alone, several hundred miles in the Japanese territory. Our flights were 12 to 14 hours long. We'd come back and regas and tie up to a buoy. Then half the crew had to be on the airplane 24 hours a day. You'd have to have one pilot, one radio man, one ordnanceman, and 2 or 3 mechanics. Of course, they would, come back. They all went on the ship for chow, so they're going back and forth all the time. But the reason for that was in case the plane broke away from the buoy, or you had to take off in a hurry, or a Jap would come out and try and blow up your plane. I'm sorry to use the name Jap, but that's the way they talk all the time. And Okinawa, for instance, we had 2 guys sitting on the wing at night with Tommy guns. And we trade off every couple hours just in case that happened. Our plane had 2 Tommy guns, 2 carbines, besides the 38 Smith & Wessons we carried. Getting buoy watches all the time. We got to know real close crew. There was really no difference between enlisted men and officers, except when we were flying or on the ship. So this DVD that I'm going to show was about 35 minutes long. And the first 2 or 3 minutes are from a training film, and the rest of it is the color film. The Seaplane operates at Okinawa. And I will sit down, it's a silent film, and I'll explain it as it goes along. So, I'm going to give it that.
My wife's brother's flew those things. He's shot down, spent 9 days in a raft.
9 days.
The Pacific, and he won't use it. Tell his wife even how they survived.
Huh.
But it's just, I'd go by there and see it.
Okay, title is the Mariner. It's a PBM-3C. There's a 3C, a 3D, and a 5. They actually all look the same from the outside, except for the engines. Now here's going to start the engines. I told you we had 16-foot propellers. We didn't pull them through either. Now this is the land base, so the head beaching gear. Now you can see the size of the airplane compared to the guy standing there, a big airplane. And on land base, you put the beaching gear on, and then you float it out of the water, take the beaching gear off and float it to shore. When you come back in, they float the beaching gear back on again and float up on shore. But in the forward areas, there were always the type of buoys, like I said, lake areas, make the homeless sailboats. Tractor behind it to make sure it doesn't run away. See the tail turret there. Now that was my job. Besides being an ordnanceman, doing the North bomb sight and bomb guns, I also had to catch the buoy. The bow turret, nice big glass bow turret or plexiglass. And then you can get down into the water. The PBM-3B had the right engine, and PBM-5 had the Pratt & Whitney 2800, which is a 2100 horsepower engine, same as the Hellcat, Corsair, and Thunderbolt had. A lot bigger than a PBY, you can see. And then the after station, that's the little waste hatch. So there's the bomb bay, just like regular bomb bay, B-24 or something. And, had 6 bomb stations in each cell. So here's going to be a rough landing. I had a lot of those. This is a couple of shots of PBM before we get to the Okinawa deal. Just a fast taxi. The gull wings were made to keep the engines up higher so the ocean spray wouldn't get into it. And same with the tail. Now there's jail bottles being swung out at the waste hatch. We didn't get those the last 2 months of the war. They sure made a difference getting off the water. Here's a jail takeoff. You see how fast we get off compared to what you'll see later on. So it's open all of them. Okay, here we are, Okinawa. We're at the rear end of a small seaplane tender gassing up. What happens, they stream a buoy out behind the tender, and then we catch it. We pull it up to the rear end of the tender and pass over the gas and fuel line. You know, with the gun turret to one side, there, so it doesn't hit the ship. You can see depth charts at the back of the seaplane tender, because it wasn't in a sense a modified destroyer. See how the thing bounces up and down in the water. Now here's the guy who was picked up by a fighter pilot and getting information from him. Got to stay west on. You know, PBM taking off. Well, incidentally, I said Okinawa, there's a group of islands off Okinawa called Mariner, and that's where we actually were. And I'll use the term Okinawa, but Mariner is a group of islands. Come on, take off, come on. Nope. Yeah, there you go.
One more.
There's one landing. See all the ships in the harbor. Another one landing. Now, when you're on the plane, you know, this is the first little swish. Maybe another swish right afterwards. As long as you heard the swishes together, it's okay. But if you only heard one swish, nothing else, then you held on because you bounced into the air to hit a swell or something. And you, of course, don't have your airspeed, and you drop a wing or a tail. And if you're lucky, just pop right back down again. That's what someone does. Another one taken off. I think it's a pretty airplane. Prettier than a PBY. Another one taken off, and there's one landing on the right, left of the screen. Probably one going on their patrol, the other one coming back from overnight. There's another one coming in on the left again.
What's the heat of water? The rollout is very short, isn't it?
What's that?
What's the heat of water? The rollout is very short.
Yeah, pretty short.
Tell us about the crew, please.
All 11, 12-man crew, 3 pilots. One of them is acted as navigator. Now here are making smoke, which we made when the kamikazes came in. which we did every night. I'll tell you about the crew as we go along. Here we're picking up a life raft. Life rafts are very hard to see. So you can see it there. So we drop a smoke light so they don't lose track where it is, and then we go back and pick them up. Now, we don't have our engines running when we pick them up, so you have to paddle to us. And you'll see the effect of wind here in a couple minutes. One of the things that affects the seaplane is wind and current. Oh, there goes his buddies to make sure he's picked up. Now see, that's the wind blowing us. The engines aren't going, it's the wind blowing us. Looks like a big sail. I keep saying us like we were on the plane, but just talking that way. Don't think about other people. Those are jail bottles up at the waste hash. He wants to get in there, but we won't let him in. No, you can't get in there. And finally goes to the front of the plane.
What is the green?
What?
What's the green color?
That's dye marker that helps spot the plane or the guy in the air, and it also flattens the water out, so sometimes you see a slick when you don't see him, but you do see a slick from the dye marker.
What kind of plane did he bail out of?
Well, that's probably some fighter plane. It could be, a Hellcat or a Corsair, single seater. Now, life raft float away. We don't let them float away by themselves. We shoot them up with our waist gun or bow turret gun. Don't want empty life raft floating around. No, it's just some fast taxiing or what. Getting back to the crew, so the 3 pilots, one guy navigator, and the 2 other pilots, and the 2 co-pilots trade off of being navigators the next time they fly. Then you have 2 ordnancemen, 2 radio operators, one of them radar, around the radar, operates the radar and on the radio, and 2 or 3 mechanics. Now here they've landed. They're going to catch the buoy and be towed up to the ship. They had in the front of our plane, they put down our buoy crisp, because that's the one that saw the buoy all the time. That's the one on the side of the plane, by the bow hatch. Lots of times to slow the plane down, they shut the mags off and just barely let the plane tick over, and then as soon as it's about ready to stop, they turn the mags on again. You get the propellers rotating, then turn them off and on. Slow the plane down, make it easier for the guy catching the buoy. Now here's going to be an example of the current. The plane is supposed to be directly behind the tender, but the current is carrying over to one side. There's a 5-inch gun on the stern of the ship. You can't see it very well there, but my bunk was right underneath that 5-inch gun.
What year was this picture taken?
1945. And you see the buoy that they're caught, and they pass a ring through it, or a line through the ring, and then put a half hitch on the stomach goes in the plane. They pull it up. Now here's another tree man, or I mean tree rack. I thought I had an idea what it was. Okay, get all the claim. You'll see it get highlighted there, plus the crew of the PBM knows how rough the water is. Now, you see that vertical slat sticking up right in front of the hatch there, it's called a spoiler board. When you're flying and you want to open the hatch, you put that thing out at right angles and it deflects the wind away from the hatch so you don't get the wind flying in your face.
Is there room for all those guys to get in?
What's that?
Is there room in that airplane for all those guys?
Oh yeah, a lot of room. Actually, the airplane had a bunk room, 4 bunks in it, had a galley and stove so you could cook. Here this plane was damaged to a landing fair, checking the vertical stabilizer there. Make sure they can get off the water. Many times the planes are damaged, they've taxied hundreds of miles back to their base. There's a parachute from the pilot you picked up.
How much your speed you had to go every while when you're taking off?
Say what?
What, the speed of your plane?
Oh, about 90, 89 miles an hour. That's not too fast.
How about cruising?
What's that?
Cruising speed?
The cruise only about 105. And then I think Park said I was a pilot, but I wasn't. I was an ordnanceman. I knew how to use Nord bomb sights. And that was a water bridge, that silver thing. The airplane had about 3 of them. And they had drinking water for the crew. They probably, not knowing how long they're being around, they probably took this water pressure along. Another guy got drank up his nose. Like a couple of chiefs on the plane too. They one of them was bank captain. Now there's a good looking naval aviator. There's a solid looking guy.
Probably wishes he was in the airport.
There's a pilot that they picked up.
Happy to be alive.
And this guy reminds me of a radio man for some reason. Well, he could carry 12 smaller bombs or 8 larger size bombs. You know, 500,000 pounders. Now that ship looks like the one, almost like the one I was on. It had that type of camouflage. That being all gray or something. That looks almost like the ship I was on. Aqua. Now see those signal flags up there? The guy wanted to go up for a rate, advanced rate, you got to know those signal flags. Besides the rate, you had to know the signal flags. You had to know, send and receive Morse code, 6 words a minute. You had to know semaphore, the flag. Well, with semaphore, send it one way, but you receive it the other way. A, B, you had to learn it both ways. And then there's only so many openings in a squadron for first, second, third, petty officers and chiefs. You had to wait till the opening came also, which is then. They're hauling this guy for the big sequence in
And this guy has a charmer Burma India patch on his plate jacket, just like I have on mine. He flew along the China coast, that's why he had to have it. Well, I don't know what he had to have it, but that's why he had it. Here's the guy named McBoy. Now, all the time we flew, we never missed a buoy once, never had to go around the second time, so that showed the skill of the pilot. Now, you guys in fishing boats, when you try to make a dock and the wind is blowing, you know, it's kind of tough. But that's pretty good. You see that? They must have, this thing comes through, everybody hear me? Must have been somebody wounded was taken off because they don't organize taking anybody off until after they gassed up and they're tied up to the buoy. Good shot of top turret there, probably different than for B-17 and B-24. The Martin turret, stands for tail. Tail turret, more than 2,100 rounds per run. Yeah. We had 250 calories in the waist too.
That road started, it actually came right inside of it.
Yeah. So it's great, nice big clear plastic dome is really good to see if you're sitting at it. You can just see it. It's not like you're floating in space, you can't see the airplane around you, you're just flying in the plastic dome. Now this must have been a Grumman torpedo bomber, 3-man crew. Pilot, gunner, radio man. I don't know if that antenna is sticking out the side of the aircraft. It's a big radio person here might know what that is.
You guys never did south to a lighthouse, did you?
No, like I say, we shot him up.
No, it took place in the training exercise that 4-bladed props, and maybe got 3-bladed props.
No, actually, some have got 3-bladed, some have 4-bladed props. In fact, some of our planes, they bought them from the 3 or some of the 4. Now, it's nice to cockpit on PBM. Just there, so they're just going to kind of work. We're on a rail from the air, all the Seaplane. Out there, that's where we're going. Seaplane tenders. See a lot of good stories.
With all the PBM?
Yep. And you got to watch out for a reef. You get reefed twice. Now this view you would see if you were in the airplane looking out of the porthole. Another PBM gas over there. Now, kind of fast taxi now. I think he's coming around to catch the rear end of the seaplane under the refuel. Well, this one went close in the water time, and one of them was up in the air. Both went into the water that we were sinking. float somehow or other, everybody has to run out on the wings on the opposite side to hold the one, to float down the water. That's PBM flying control. There's a destroyer. It's going almost as fast as we are. There's a shore installation of a bomb. Sorry we don't have any combat stuff on here. We had gun cameras in each of the, gun cameras in each of the turrets, but never gave us any film. We never took any pictures. Now here's a guy, doesn't have a life raft. Look at that water. Imagine how he felt going down in there and all by himself, no life raft, nothing, that big ocean. You see the big beautiful birds and then pick them up.
Somebody watch yourself on? Must have the worst thing on. Bouncing around out there, the sharks. Unbelievable.
And I think he's out of it. He doesn't even care when the water washes over his head.
The luckiest guy in the world. Guys across the lake near fishing boats and the waves are there. Imagine it's like going 80, 90 knots across that kind of water trying to get off. Now, I think this might be a British guy or something else, but everybody's got an orange raft. I don't think we have any orange raft. Got a couple of
Government historic aircraft and how they can deploy them.
What do you mean? I don't know what you mean.
In other words, the B-17 was the right, sort of the east side of the radio man. He's full of ammo. It would jump out into the
We had a deck right above the bunk room where the life raft was stored. You'd have to throw them out and, pull a cord to inflate them and everything. Couldn't inflate it in there or something. But you had to do it manually. No, I don't recognize that as the Navy flight cruiser or anything.
Did he have paddles attached to his hands?
They're already in the life raft.
Was there a radio transmitter in there also?
Yeah, well, there's a big man. Come on, Dick, get on the close there. Not just so close. He's got some rockets under his wing there, too. A lot of times, the Army, Air Force, and the Navy would ask the PBM to come along when they make a bombing raid on shore installation or something, just in case one of them had to ditch. Awful close. A little far away now.
No, this will stop rotating in a second. No, I think this guy is injured. As you'll see later. This is the last rescue board anymore. Yeah, the guy that jumped in, the other guy that jumped in the water. Yeah. Probably. No, this guy doesn't get rid of his boots. We were on an Airedale on shipboard in Brown Shoe Navy, so we got brown shoes now. Got in the ship, had black shoes. Now, in 2 minutes, ladies, you better turn your eyes, you're going to see a naked man. Put the ladder out. All PBMs you see there, you got half the crew on. We're getting close to the end. On the old horizon, across the water. Romantic scenes. Sunset is open house. Oh, here they're hoisting PBM for the Seaplane vendor.
Is that the regular size tent or a bigger one?
No, it's a big one. They can hold 2 PBMs on there. And 40 millimeter anti-aircraft guns to shot. So. Seaplane vendor's got 2 cranes. One where the picture's being taken, and then of course the one that aft end. Either one of them can raise the plane goes.
But they bring them on board for engine change.
Yeah, that, and repair, battle damage, you know. If they get a reef, they have to repair and what they can save at the time. Repair the bottom. We're making smoke, you know. Yeah, this is about it. Yeah. That's it. Anybody else got any questions?
Yeah, how'd you get that film?
How to get what?
The film.
Well, that was Naval Archives, or the U.S. Archives. Anything else?
So what do you carry when you put the torpedoes in the mountain? How many torpedoes do you have?
We had to carry the torpedoes outside between the engine and the fuselage, one on either side. The torpedoes are too big. We did carry an acoustic torpedo called a Fido, which went after the sound of the submarine. We used that in conjunction with sonobuoys. Sonobuoys are big, tall cylinders, about 5 feet long, about 6 to 8 inch diameter. You throw them over the side with parachute. When they hit the water, the microphone would drop down about 20 feet. Each one of them was color-coded, red, green, blue, as a receiver of the plane that corresponded. So if you hear a submarine riding blue, you know where to go and drop your Fido, and you can hear it over the earphones, and your torpedo would probably hit it.
Did you have to fly at altitudes where you needed oxygen?
No, never. A couple thousand feet, something like that.
Very good.